Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Rive to receive the top 10 stocks to buy right now. Virgin Galactic continues to be one of the companies that I'm most intrigued by long-term because this is a company that could come to define space tourism as a completely new product. But there's a lot of questions that the company and management needs to answer from an investment perspective before this stock is really going to take off and before the company can really become a viable company. I want to go through the biggest questions that I have for Virgin Galactic and what I want to see before adding to my position in this stock. My name is Travis William. Thank you for watching Rive Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube. And if you're interested in companies like Virgin Galactic and a deeper dive into them, check out Asymmetric Investing. That's a newsletter I'm doing on disruptive companies, and I'm really digging deep into their financials and what their future looks like. So if you're interested in this stock, I think you'd be interested in that. But let's go through Virgin Galactic's biggest question. And the first one is, are we still on track for a Q2 2023 commercial launch? This is a company that doesn't give a lot of updates to investors or anybody in the public for that matter. Their last press release was February 28th, and I just want to read exactly what they said. The first line, commercial service remains on track for Q2 2023. So that indicates that sometime in the next about 2.5 months, they're going to have commercial customers, so paying customers going into space. That's not a long time from now. Now, we don't usually get an indication of when their flights are going to be planned until a few days or maybe a couple of weeks ahead of time. But we haven't gotten any more information since then, at least not officially. So the company and management really needs to answer that question because that's going to define when the company is going to actually start bringing in revenue, and then we can start asking further questions. And the next question is, how quickly will flights ramp up? Are they going to be doing one flight every 3 or 4 months? Because that's not going to drive profitability or any sort of significant cash flow for the business. Are they going to be ramping up to a flight once a month or maybe even every couple of weeks? That's something that we need to get an update on. And until they get into space and start doing those commercial flights, I think it's going to be hard to answer that question. It's going to be hard to model how long the company's runway is. For example, it has had about $1 billion in cash on the balance sheet as of last quarter, but that's coming down really rapidly without any revenue coming in. So we need to know how quickly flights are going to ramp up and therefore how quickly revenue is going to ramp up as well. On the same lines, when is the Delta class of spacecraft going to be available? The big change with the Delta class is they're going to be 6 passenger seats instead of 4. The spaceship that the company currently has 6 people inside, but 2 of those are pilots. So only 4 of those are going to be paying customers. The Delta class actually expands to 6 paying customers. And that's what I think we're going to see the company ramp with long term. That could be a $450,000 ticket price. That could be nearly $3 million in revenue per flight. That could potentially add a significant margin for the company, because even if it's $500,000 or $1 million per flight, and the cost estimates are likely in that range, that still means that you're making around $2 million in contribution profit per flight. That's something that I think we need to get a big update on right now is, when is that Delta class of spacecraft going to be available? So when is it going to start testing? And then when is it going to ultimately start carrying passengers into space? The other benefit of that spacecraft in particular is that it's going to be able to fly more often. So moving those flights up would obviously be better for the company and better for investors long term. And the final question is simply around the backlog of orders. There was a lot of buzz around Virgin Galactic a couple of years ago when the company came public via SPAC. Richard Branson went into space. But then we've had this lull for about 1.5 years now, where the company's been upgrading both its spacecrafts and its mothership. There's been a lot of work going on behind the scenes, but does that mean that customers have been dropping off? Are we starting to see that backlog fall? Because that backlog ultimately drives both future revenue, but also cash on the balance sheet. People put a deposit down to get on the wait list to go into space through Virgin Galactic. So there's a lot of reasons that a bigger backlog is going to be really good for the company. So you need to get some updates on that. I wouldn't expect big numbers right now, but any progress on growing the backlog is going to be an incremental positive for Virgin Galactic. But what would you like to see from this company when they report earnings or any news that comes out in the next few weeks? I'd love to hear your comments in the comments section below. So leave those there, and don't forget to subscribe to Asymmetric Investing. I think if you like Virgin Galactic, that's a newsletter you're really going to enjoy. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you here next time.